Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Dr. Sanchez and classmates. My name is Aaron Bernadac, Human Resources and Management, Dr. Dion Sanchez, Abercrombie University. The title of my project is Variables Affecting Risk Management and Performance in Memphis City Schools. Part of my introduction is to acknowledge that Memphis City Schools prepares all students for success and development in learning, in leadership, and life. The system believes that all students can accomplish at high global academic standards that will prepare students to become successful leaders in life. The system believes that all students require quality resources and supports to accomplish high standards of success. Effective teachers and school leaders are critical to high student achievement. The system also believes that schools can be a high-performing, transparent, responsible, and accountable organization by engaging parents and families in the education of their children. So, class, part of the Memphis City School vision statement is to acknowledge that the District of Memphis City Schools are attracting a diverse student population. As effective teachers, leaders, and staff, they are committed to excellence. So they are working together to come up with different assessment, measurements, and different plans. Part of the core belief is they actually believe that all students can achieve at a high global academic standards that will prepare them to become successful in life. So they come together to reinforce the purpose and theories through their values and behavior. Staff members working for Memphis and city schools have tremendous opportunities to cultivate and expand their shared alliance through professional learning and development and collaboration. For example, they can scrutinize student performance data together, develop different assessments and interventions that help solve problems, or experiment with new curriculum and instruction and programs that align with the mission and beliefs. So students need to understand they need to construct a peer culture that aligns with the mission and identity of their school. And part of the human resources department of Memphis and city schools is to share those common goals and applications that should be established to support a shared vision of what success and development means for students and everyone. Part of the good mission is to commit equitable distribution of quality resources and supports to all students. The Memphis City Schools commit to provide a safe, a nurturing school environment for our students. Part of the human resources is to commit to be accountable for successfully implementing rigorous standards, and they function best when stakeholders share a cohesive culture and a common set of beliefs and values. They design to reinforce truly effective schools for the future. They need to talk about, and ultimately come up with educational and organizational principles that the school needs to work for. Part of the mission of human resources is to develop every relationship or correlation with the system, and once established, the staffing and structure organization can create a lasting heritage or environmental organizational perspective. Part of my hypothesis statement, Dr. Sanchez and classmates, is to play emphasis the HR managers and supervisors on risk management and worker protection has increased outstandingly in the last decade, meaning that there has been many incidents where HR have not been completely involved in Memphis city schools, and a lot of the schools don't even provide risk management principles. So many of the co-workers, many of the employees um, don't know their rights, and they don't know that they are secure. But risk management has different levels beyond respecting, complying with health policies and safety. Part of the statement is to explore concepts of nature of risk management, legal requirements for safety and health, workers' compensation, disabilities, and safety issues. So OSHA standards, safety management, employee health, and disaster preparation and recovery planning assessment, it's also important, and it's something that the system has been lacking. Part of my literature review is going to include different authors that describe that the human resources is responsible for meeting management challenges, recruitment, selection, processing of new employee, pay and classification, employee personnel records and files, employee and supervisory training, growth and development, ensures that our worker place activities assignments comply with applicable federal, state, and local laws pursuant to employment issues. Also, property and liability insurance. So, Memphis City School risk management methods. So, part of my research was to understand that Memphis City School has two different responsibilities in risk management within the human resource department. First, people are a source of risk, shortage of employee, people doing careless work, an employee refusing to take on additional commitment, or key employee leaving 2 months after achievement of a 1 year training program. Part of the Memphis City School system is that we have different programs such as youth villages. They are working with youth that have severe mental health problems. Also, the Department of Special Education has increased in the past few years because we're getting more and more students with behavioral problems, with sexual problems, and many of the workers are not doing enough to support the vision and the mission of the school. They don't want to take additional commitment or responsibilities, or they end up leaving 2 months after achieving 1 year training program because they find that the school is tough or they don't enjoy the environment. People are important in handling risks because they use their information or their knowledge to solve and analyze unexpected problems, employing going to the extra mile for that good of the school system. Human resources include more than full-time employees. We have several people that are working part-time, and organizational and labor personnel, family and non-family members, full-time and part-time. Risk specialists have traditional emphasized important causes such as weather, disease, or natural calamities in ways to deal with the risks. Risk management and interface. The Department of Human Resources within Memphis City Schools is powerful when implementing decision making throughout the business and operation of the system. I think that this is going to lead to a recollection of each production, financial, and marketing decision. It's something very important. Also, to comprehend fully how human resources management and risk management are connected, people need to understand, and that was including me based on my research, that it is a staffing training process, motivation, and maintenance of employees to help accomplish organizational goals and objectives. So I think that's such an important issue to recognize that human resources within Memphis City Schools are accomplishing organizational goals, and every human resource management also helps employees conclude their career goals or whatever their expectations or objectives might be. This is a little picture of how Memphis City School focus on safety culture by communicating, by doing teamwork, by doing commitment, responsibility, involvement. So they do a lot of cooperation and coordination between team members. People are willing to report safety without the fear of being blamed. There's also the acceptance of organizational and individual levels of responsibility for safety. The framework for human resource management within Memphis City Schools are still competitive challenges, human resources, and employee concern. So we always acknowledge the employee concern, because if we don't have an effective human resource team, and if we're not addressing the employee concern, and we're not offering competitive challenges, such as a human capital or cost attainment or technology, we will never reach that level of safety culture. This is some more information on the Memphis City School risk management. So there's important information on things that we need to know about the organization. I focus on the skills, the knowledge, the abilities, and work values. I think that's an important issue, to recognize what is what has been going on within the Department of Human Resources. Now, there is Memphis City School employee and employee interaction. There is reimbursement, which it can include monetary and non-monetary rewards received by employees. Discipline is giving each employee expectations, rules, policies, and standards for working with the employee to good behavior. Memphis City schools are linked to four different risk management. These activities are necessary to keep human resources in balance with the risk management techniques adopted by the management team. Risk management firmness are carried out by people having the right people in place, trained, encouraged, and rewarded is essentially to riches in risk management. Human resources, it can include several things such as divorce, chronic illness, or accidental death, can basically make suitable risk management alternatives or choices. Risk management should foresee the likelihood of human resources calamities, and incidents planning needs to be a critical part of risk management and implementation. Memphis City School interaction. The Department of Human Resources is really involved within the schools. However, they have a significant source of insecurity. There are different legal and financial considerations that has to take place, and there are immediately influences in the management progression. Management succession requires each of the human resource management within the school activities, job analysis, job description, selection training, developmental courses, interaction, performance appraisal, compensation, and teaching and instruction. Fourth, human resource performance evaluation within Memphis City Schools should be attached to risk management. Risk management methods are carried out through people, and human resource non-fulfillment can cause the best planned risk management strategy to vanish. This is just a quick picture of the different resources on campus that the Department of Human Resources provided, and the Resources Center also team up with the Department of Education and the Department of Human Resources to provide different scholarships and career center, different things for our students before they even apply to college. We can see the numbers from Tennessee and Shelby County all the way to 2012. Of course, things change, so things are going drastically, is increasing every time. We see a nice looking pattern. So there are studies related to that topic and the employee with health, safety, and security. HR is connected with the Emergency Management Division to promote safety. Today, more than ever, Memphis City schools are faced with the ongoing challenge of being prepared for a wide range of emergency circumstances, and we also have to take care of our employees. So some of the agencies are, some of the human resources connections is to partner with safe and drug-free schools, emergency management agencies, Memphis City Department, Memphis City Police County, and city mayors, along with the state of Tennessee Education Department and the U.S. Department of Education and other government agencies to help the school district and the Department of Education to meet these unique situations by helping the HR to become better prepared in our all hazard approach of emergencies. Now, the Human Resource Department understands that safety and security is very, very important that affects employees. So if the environment is unsafe, students cannot succeed. If parents cannot be eased, employees cannot be effectual or effective, and entire families and communities cannot enjoy academics. We as Human Resource Department need to identify that decreasing crime in our schools takes a collective attempt to incorporate the community, parents, and other key stakeholders by the government. Why do I say that? Because I feel like a lot of times human resources don't really acknowledge or embrace safety to employees, and if the environment is not safe, really that's going to be an issue. Or if a number of crime is increasing every time, then we need to take different approach to protect not only our students but also our staff. They've done tremendous job for Memphis City Schools. So we see that that's the employee safety, the emergency management division through consultation, supervision, and other agencies provide Memphis City School with different emergency assistance and different alternatives. I think it's important to plan different phases of emergency, which is prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. The Department of Human Resources provides standard procedures for emergency situations, with having Memphis City School District within a nice structure for planning and a frame for action should be an emergency situation emerge. So a lot of the employees are getting proper training, are getting training on CPS, they're getting training on employee safety, OSHA rules, regulation, ethics, so they can have a better understanding of what to expect and what the company of Memphis City School needs to be done or need to be working for our employees. So workers' compensation. I think it was something important to understand and preserve the best talent with total rewards. That's something the Memphis City Schools are doing, and it is providing competitive wages. If the teacher has a certain degree in a specific field, they can be making a pretty competitive um, on salary. We also have counselors that are working towards reaching those goals as well. So Memphis School offers tons of opportunity for people, and there is always a space and time for growth and development. But it doesn't mean that the school is not offering good packages to attract the attention, OT, overtime, vacation hours, a wide variety of available stipends, and recognition from top employee for outstanding contribution to the district. I think that's important. Also, part of the workers' compensation is to implement different approaches and procedures and guidelines that undergird the district objectives for internal equity, external competitiveness, and precise pay for employee. The Memphis City School does not discriminate based on race, color, sex, national or ethnic origin, disability, or culture. So, I did find some limitations of the study. That I was a little. It was a very good opportunity for me to observe and understand that just because it's a school and a very respectable system does not mean that the Department of Human Resources are lacking specific skills or different things of that nature. So the conflict between the individual and employee, it's aggravating. Several factors from law and psychology analysis impact the employee relationships. Just cause, due process, employment at will, constructive discharge, and procedural justice are some of the factors that affect the Department of Human Resources. The Department of Memphis City School and the Department of Education should take several precautions to reduce wrongful discharge liabilities, and due to the due process consideration and the just case that part of the limitations of the study was for me to understand that research is limited when it comes to the reality of the school system. So human resources don't really give you the whole picture of the school system. I feel like there's always information and always not enough research to understand. I feel like the research is very manipulative, and there's something that the authors were trying to tell us, that behaviors, interaction often create opposed work environments and unhealthy consequences for other employees in the school system. Also, some disruptive individuals suffer from psychological disorder, mental health problems, and other severe things, or other physical activities or conditions. I'm sorry. Others might be impaired because of drugs and alcohol use. Many other people still experience personal trauma, for example, marital, family, financial problems, etc., and they don't have the capability to deal with their colleagues in a civil and professional manner. Part of the suggestions based on Barrett, Bond, and Garak was to those carrying procedure justice must be impartial and neutral. Unbiased decision makers must carry out their procedures to reach a equitable and accurate outcome. Thus, involved should believe that the intentions of the third party authorities are altruistic. Those directly affected by the conclusion should have a voice and representation in the procedure. Just a little logo that Memphis City School uses. More suggestions. Legal experts recommend beginning the meetings of human resources by informing the employee that they are terminating from a particular date. They need to specify the reason with enough evidence information. It is important to have well-trained human resources employees who are able to keep the disciplinary and conclusion process professional, and all disciplinary actions and terminations need to follow the method in place at Memphis City Schools instead of making rash firing decisions in the heat of emotion. The author of A suggests the pre-screening of employees to find the best match for Memphis City School environment. The HR representative should not hesitate to require multiple interviews, group interviews, assessment, profile evaluations, and just other competencies tests with screening potential employees. Policies and regulations should be revised. My methodology used was quantitative and qualitative data and evidence-based research development of case study based on in-depth investigation of a single individual group that explore the HR within the Department of Education in Memphis in order to find underlying principles and values. It might involve the combination of both qualitative and quantitative, like documents, records, interviews, direct observations, assessment, and other physical artifacts. Several analytic strategies and tools for cost studies have been described, by placing the evidence in a matrix of classification, pattern, matching, statistics, procedure, and also coding has been proposed as a way to approach analysis and further synthesis. So I want to say with part of the conclusion is that I understand that the human resources specialists are doing in school, and the human resource specialists are very involved on the staffing of the school system, ensuring the right people are hired for the school jobs. There is enough school employees support the human resource specialists. There is people that offer support to the school employees, and many communicate labor relationships, information, or interpret employment laws. Administrative support. There is administrative support that the school administration in school system, the specialist might report directly to the administrator. People will be involved in several committees and provide recommendations. So the Department of Human Resources does not evaluate strategies due to limited resources sometimes. That can be time or personal issue. This make it difficult to commit or adjust to the discipline and rigorousness of continuous evaluation. This results in late course correction that could be more expensive to implement while being preventable. So, according to the authors, there is a certain strategy implementation that could take a long time to implement. As a result, the evaluation take an extended amount of time to show results that are not really clear or concrete, and they should be improved. We need to provide solutions by breaking up the strategy implementation into smaller, less components or elements that could be evaluated or implemented sooner, and provide the necessary feedback to make improvements. Part of that conclusion too is to understand that Memphis City School needs a strategy and evaluation as well. I think that was part of my conclusion, something that I wanted to be implemented, something that I feel like human resources is lacking will be on the importance of correcting, evaluating the cause, or evaluating the assessment of the company. Having no evaluation can create worse problems. For example, my currently company didn't have a strategy goals to measure the company's success, which is Youth Villages, which is part of Memphis City School. The strategy evaluation, it is critical and essential to ensure that objectives are being achieved or accomplished. It's very important for a organization to feel that they have alert and management evaluation in a timely fashion about potential problems before the situation even becomes critical. If the strategy has too many or too drastic corrective action, it's important to not perform the same objectives if we know it's not going to give us the results that we want. Implications of the 21st century, I feel that there's still going back to the lack of a strategic evaluation within Memphis City Schools. I feel like the evaluation occurs at the final strategic management cycle, but without it, Memphis City School will not have a way to understand whether or not strategic management strategy within the Department of Human Resources, our plans are fulfilling the school's objective. The plan is to coordinate and bring business resources and actions in line with the mission and vision of the business. So the evaluation is becoming increasingly difficult because of several reasons. That's including the increasing number of variables, the increasing number in both domestic and work events affecting organizations, a dramatic increase in the environment's complexity. Also, I wanted to review internal and external factors measure organizational performance. There are numerous external and internal factors that prohibit firms or organizations from achieving long-term relationships and annual objectives. Externally, there are actions by competitors that change in demand, they change in technology, economic changes, demographic shifts, and government changes as well. External opportunities and threats and internal strength and weakness are basis for current strategies that should be continually monitored for change. It is important to review the key performance indicators. It's also a good idea to benchmark against others. This will allow the school system to identify deficiencies. The school that I currently work provide one monthly KPI data. This data is in support of the mission and vision and values. As you can see, but I just want to make another emphasis on the project as well. Part of the interface risks, what they are and why should care. So failing to manage interface risk is a common and significant cause of delay, expense, and lost profits in construction projects. So this information or the presentation describe the interface risks that arise in many projects and some approaches to management. So the interface risk always project or depends on interaction or relationships between two or more stakeholders. So the physical interfaces will also occur on the same and ongoing construction where she contradicts people who are engaged, and it's just not a very good atmosphere. It feels more like a hostile atmosphere rather than, but that's another story. So there are physical and contracts who mismanage physical and relationship, and they are defective in different lost profits and other things. That's why they seek human resources management. And okay, so alliance with the project has to deal with interface issues by removing traditional barriers to direct collaboration and imposing a blame, pain, share game. So the statistics that needs to be evaluated because the external and internal factor constantly changes as well. The process or the project of human resources should not be evaluated or quarterly, yearly, or after problems. It should be evaluated within the first 24 hours. In terms of security concerns at work, this disaster, preparation and recovery planning, I think is important to talk about the disaster planning, the organizational assessment, in order to have good security system at work, and why it's important for people to understand the employee contracts, the implied contracts, and just other employee relationships. There are rights affecting the employment relationships because as employees increasingly rewards themselves as free agents in the workplace and as the power of union, people will struggle between individual employee and employee rights. So part of the human resources as well is to actually do CPS and see if it's working. There are employment will where it's a common law doctrine stating that employees have the right to hire, fire, demote, or promote whatever choose unless there is a law or a contract. Conversely, employees can quit whenever they want to, and nothing they're gonna give you a pass so it can be admitted. But the balancing employees and employee rights, they also have the employees have the free speech rights from the human resources, the privacy rights, and employee records are also something that we have to start looking and pay attention. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is the approaches to effective safety and management. So organization approach will be designing jobs, developing and implementing safety policies, reinforcing and providing the safety training through incentive programs. Anyway, well, that was actually in classmates. This was my project. I'm sorry if it was a little too long. I just tend to be inspired and just start talking whenever I feel something that I'm passionate. But hopefully, human resources are finding different approaches to effectively cope with safety and management. There should be OSHA inspection, safety management skills along the way that people have to take and get their certification ultimately. But there are employee reaction. The employee reaction, the security concerns at work, disaster in recovery and planning. So I was trying to cover as much as possible, but I think it's going to be a good project just describing the role of human resources in different companies, and I put Memphis City Schools as my company. Thank you so much for this opportunity.